So when people ask me what The Notebook is, I tell them that we're really lucky in Philadelphia because we have a free news source that is devoted entirely to education in Philadelphia public schools.
The Notebook is an information source for people who are trying to make sense out of the Philadelphia schools and be involved. It's also a voice for people at the grassroots level.
It's like a go-to space where you want to find out about education.
Moral calling of Philadelphia's public around our schools and our children.
It's something that covers education issues, but on a different level.
They're the voice of the children so that families can be informed of what's going on.
The Notebook makes people better participants in public education in Philadelphia, and in turn makes the school district of Philadelphia a better institution.
There were a number of us who were thinking about the kind of troubled school system we had in Philadelphia. I was the one who picked up the phone and called some of the people I knew and said, you know, what do you think about the idea of putting out a newspaper? And it turned out that there were some other people who had been thinking about the exact same thing.
I remembered coming to a gym in Feltonville, and a whole group of people were, you know, it was just an enormous circle as more people came into the room, talking about what would it look like if we finally created a education vehicle that was truly the voice of the people.
Part of the idea was making sure that the people who were closest to the system, who were in the schools every day, had a voice.
They were looking to create another kind of vehicle, you know, a bigger, broader thing that could service the city and bring us to another level of really fighting for what we believed in. The most important impact of the Notebook today is really a much more thoughtful perspective on thinking about how public policy gets shaped.
Since I've been at the Notebook, I think the most important stories that I have either written or edited and been involved with, the one that had, I think, the most immediate and most dramatic impact was the series of stories that we wrote about cheating in the schools. It was our request for a forensic study of test score booklets from Harrisburg that sort of got this whole cheating scandal in motion by uncovering this report that indicated that student test booklets likely had been tampered with. We got the statistical report. Putting two and two together, the State Department of Ed and the school district could no longer ignore what appeared to be a festering issue.
In 2012, the district announced its plans to do a pretty massive closing of schools. One of those was a little high school called Paul Robeson High School in West Philadelphia. Students and staff from that school were very vocal in protesting the closings. We noticed in graduation data that we got from the school system that Robeson was actually one of the top 10 schools in the city in terms of its graduation rate. That was a fact that had not been part of the conversation. We published a story the day of the meeting on school closings. One of the teachers from the school came in with a large life-size graph of what the graduation rate was like at Robeson versus the average at the district high schools that these students would be likely to end up in. The School Reform Commission voted to take Robeson off the school closing list.
One of the things I've seen it do that I found really compelling and exciting is inform teachers. You go into these schools and the teachers, they can't wait for the Notebook to come out. The school district is so huge that to have people in all of these schools in all the different parts of the city, you know, understand all of the different things that are going on. It's a centralized sort of location for information, and that's really helpful for them.
I think that the Notebook has had an impact on the school district and the city because it has provided catalysts for conversations, right? It's provided perspectives that aren't necessarily represented in other mediums, and it's provided a space to have those conversations.
I think that the Notebook has really fostered a greater degree of civic engagement around education in the city.
Sort of how people come together to create community, how the community feels about education policy and practice. I also see the Notebook as being a place that uncovers sort of many stories and issues that are not covered in the regular media.
So I think that the biggest accomplishment has been holding accountable the people who are responsible to make these important decisions and giving a voice to the people who are most involved with and who have most at stake in creating a high-quality education system.
All our voices will be heard. All our voices will be heard. Give me.
One of the things we have to celebrate is the Notebook's role in kind of keeping hope of and keeping commitment to the vision of high-quality education.
And it's important that we make progress in this area if we're going to improve our community in Philadelphia. And I see the Notebook as being a part of that, partly because of its emphasis on the values of promoting values of accountability of public institutions, transparency in how they're run, and continuing to raise issues of equity and justice.
The Notebook should be proud of giving a voice to all the education issues that are surrounding in Philadelphia.
The Notebook is here for 20 years and is continuing to transform and become better and become more relevant and have a wider reach.
Nothing lasts 20 minutes, let alone 20 years, so that's a big accomplishment.
Things are as bad as they've ever been, but out of this will be this amazing, engaged power of our people's voices.
I think that obviously we need to celebrate the fact that the Notebook has been able to grow and evolve and keep in front of the public what to me is the most important issue in the country. We talk about, Homeland Security and defense, but other people will say this, that the best defense of the country is a highly educated student population.